Welcome to Lean Business Improvement Show, a show designed to give you the tools and techniques to remove waste from your business. Welcome to Lean Business Improvement Show. I'm your host, Matthew Haddock. Thank you so much again for listening to the show, downloading it wherever you get it from, or just watching it on YouTube. I know there's a lot of people out there who've really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. So again, thank you for joining me on the third one. The third episode will be focusing on the idea of pre-planning and planning the lean initiatives that you want in your business. As I said before, the tools can be simple, but it's not easy to actually get it over the line. And that's when it comes down to this idea of planning and getting pre-planned before you start the process. It's like creating a roadmap for where we're going to go and how you're going to make the change. So in the second episode, we talked about culture and how you get the culture on board, and that's an important step. In this episode, you're talking around how you're going to plan it. Because having great ideas and having a great process of thinking this is going to change isn't going to change it unless you actually get your planning right. And also the pre-planning. And the pre-planning stage is, as a leader or as a person wanting to make the change, you need to look at where do we want to get to? What are we wanting to get out of these lean business improvement processes? It's like a journey. You need to know the destination. Now, I've said before, there's never a final destination in continuous improvement. It's a destination to grow and change and be better tomorrow than you are today. So you need to be knowing what's that going to look like in your department, in your business. And it's not about just, I'm going to apply a certain tool. So you might say, well, I want the place tidier, so I'm going to use 5S, which is a lean tool where you get everything together, you get rid of the stuff you don't need, you tag things, you get them in the places, you make sure everyone's got a board. Now you can do that, but in my experience, what will normally happen is the tools and the shadow boards will all go in place, and the system will look great, and you'll take some good pictures of before and after, and within a month it'll all have crept back in. All the clutter will be just in there because they didn't really understand what you were trying to do. And that's where you get yourself into this idea of building a team around you as part of this plan that's going to make the change. So you're going to take them people first with you on this journey. And they should be across departments. The last thing you want to do is ignore certain areas. If you don't involve them, and even though you might think they're not going to touch it, if you don't involve them, their negative input will make a difference to your launch. So when you're pre-planning, you're getting your team together, you're looking at different departments, and then you're going to build the skills of those people. So you're going to allow them to educate. You're going to take them through what you, as their area leader or the business owner, so we're talking about small to medium-sized businesses here, are going to do it. Now, you can do that on your own with the knowledge you may have built, or you can bring someone in who's going to help you do that. But you've got to take ownership to start this evolution. Because if you don't, and I call it evolution, not a revolution. Now, some people say it's revolution with these changes, and to some it will be. But actually, it's an evolution. You've got to think of how you're going to take ownership of the people. It's been the main part of this change. The processes. What's going to change in the processes and where you're going to get resistance to that. The plant, the actual equipment. Is there going to be some major changes there? And the products. What's going to change that might affect those? So you've got to get this pre-planning right. And this is that decision. This is the steering group where you get them together, you talk around what you want them to do, you get people on board with it, and you show them and share the vision that you see. You show them the destination. And a lot of times, the destination you think you're going to go and the roads to get there change. It's a bit like a journey. If you set off to go someplace and you put it in your sat-nav, then it'll give you the best route, hopefully. Some sat-navs I'm a bit worried about, but they give you the best route. But then things change on the route. Roads close, or the traffic gets worse, so it redirects you. It's the same in this journey. You know where the destination is, but how the teams get there, you can steer them and set parameters and give them some tools. But how it gets there may be completely different to what you are thinking. And that's great, because you can't do it all yourself. If you try and do it all yourself, then you'll soon stumble, especially with all the other pressures of work that you've got to do. So you've got your pre-plan, right? Let's go into the plan. So this is where your traditional project management comes in. What's going to happen? Who's going to do it? Where's it going to go to? When's it going to happen? This idea of you've got to planning, you've got your execution, you've got your monitoring, and in a traditional project, there would be a close. Now, in a continual process, you've got to start looking at the idea of it being a circle. So one of the more common ones you might hear is the plan, do, check, act, which was a Deming's. So that's the idea of you plan it, you're doing it, you're looking at the change, then you act and you go round in a circle. So when you get to the planning stage, you're starting to look at how we can establish milestones. So what are the main milestones you want to see? The team itself, where are you going to start? Sometimes you plan to do an area first. So a lot of good ones I've worked with, they've actually gone for a nice area. So you pick an area and you say, right, we're going to hit this area first. We're going to show these people how it works. We're going to walk them through what that's going to look like. And we're going to monitor how that works. And then we're going to tweak it. Because if it don't work, and we've done this planning and we've done the doing part of it, and now we're checking it. And then the act is to actually tweak it again. And then we go back to the plan. And did it work? No, it didn't work. So let's have another go. So when you start looking at these ideas of planning, is that you're always going to be learning. So a lot of good executions would be around finding an area. Don't try to pick the easy areas. Sometimes what people do is pick a really simple area to do, which is probably already on the lean journey. It's got a lot of the good stuff. It's got all the great people who are really enthusiastic in it. Surprise, surprise, it works really well in that area. And then when you try to bring it to other areas, guess what? It's going to fail. So why not pick a more difficult area? Maybe not the hardest area, because if you do pick a really hard area and it falls on its face, then everyone's going to lose it. So like anything in the world, it's a balance and it's finding the right medium. So have a think around how you plan this stage. And then you get your milestone. So when is it going to happen? What's going to be happening? Get your Gantt charts. Use your project management skills here, because you need to hold people to account. As I said in episode 2 about culture, it's all right getting your people on board, getting your culture sorted, but if they don't have a milestone to hit and something to go through, it can soon drift. So a project that you say, I'm going to do this in this area and it's going to take you 6 weeks, before you know it's 12 weeks and you've not delivered. You need milestones. You need to hold people to account when they're not happening. If it isn't working at the pace, why? You've got to say things got in the way. Why? Well, because we had to get some out the door. Well, why was it such a rush? Well, it needed to happen. Okay, so are we really committed to this is a great question if that happens in your project. Do we really want to make this change? Because it sounds like as soon as we hit a little bit of resistance and a bit of friction, we're going to throw it out the window. Would we do that with safety? Just leave it in silence. Because if people say, well, we had to make a shortcut and we stopped doing the lean X, Y, and Z because we were in a hurry, we had to get out the door. Well, would you have done the same with safety? Would you have made shortcuts? Oh, no, we wouldn't. So why do you think the lean journey is important? Why have you dumped it? Then you've got to think how you want it. So it's a great way when you get into the planning stage of getting people on board. Get your sponsors signed up to it. So if you've got a leader, especially if you're a business owner, this is out there for you, and you've delegated this to someone, and they're going to be responsible for it, but you've still got that accountability piece, then how are you going to make sure that they're supported? Are you giving them the resources? Are you giving them the training? Do you really want it to happen? When the going gets tough, are you going to get going and leave it? There's another test. But support the project manager. Make sure that the project manager isn't just there to report figures and numbers on a Gantt chart. They're actually part of the process. So this is the big plan part. You're looking at how are you going to plan it? How do you get execution right? How are you going to monitor it then? So when we talk about milestones in it, also what are the monitoring? And the monitoring should come down to monetary. What is the monetary value you're going to put against these things? So if you identified waste, for instance, and it's going to be rejects, and I want to reduce my rejects from 5 to 4%, what's that 1% worth? Is it 50,000, 100,000, 5 grand? Whatever it is, look at how you're hitting it. Is it hitting the bottom line? Because I've been on lean journeys with people and they wanted something, we've delivered it, and they've never seen it at the bottom line. And you wonder, well, where has it gone? Was it really a waste? Was it actually there to start with? And of course, that comes down to your pre-planning, how you're planning the right projects in the right areas. If you're talking about just cleaning up and using a tool just to tidy up, well, you don't need a big toolbox and a lean roadmap and a project team to get a tidier workplace. You just need to enforce standards and make sure people understand why they need to do it. So the planning stage of any lean journey is going through this idea of it's more structured, it's formal, it's giving people the tools to do it, it's giving them the instructions how to do it, it's then giving them milestones and expectations, and it's supported from the top. If you want to know more about this, obviously you can reach out to me at managermattconsulting@gmail.com. I'd love to discuss any of your problems you've got around the implementation, any areas that you've failed on, and you're really frustrated and not understood why. Let me know. Obviously, comment on the video, share it, like it, subscribe. It really does help if we can get this message out there. This is the third of a number of episodes that's going to deal with the idea of building a community. So if you do want to reach out, if you want to come on the show, talk about your problems directly, well, we can put something in as well and have a conversation about that. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope to see you on the next. For now, goodbye.